A veteran technician working at a power equipment dealership in Ohio was once asked a simple question on a professional lawn care form. Out of every riding mower you have repaired, which one do you personally trust enough to own? This was not a random homeowner answering. This was someone who had serviced more than 3,000 machines over the years. He had replaced spindle bearings on nearly every residential brand people recognize. He had watched the same weak transmissions fail again and again on the same popular models. Season after season, he saw homeowners throw away broken machines only to buy another version of the exact same mower. When he finally answered, his response surprised people. He said, "Not John Deere, not Husqvarna, not Cub Cadet." Then he explained why. "I know exactly what breaks on almost every mower sitting in those store aisles. I'm not spending my own money on any of them." The most interesting part is that he was not the only mechanic saying this. Professional technicians across the industry repeated the same idea in different ways. The machines they trusted all shared three important characteristics. They used fabricated steel decks. They came with commercial-grade engines. And most importantly, you would never see them stacked on pallets at a big box store. The first mower on that list is one most homeowners walk right past without ever realizing what it is. Gravely produces a residential zero-turn mower known as the ZTHD. Most homeowners in America have never heard much about it because Gravely does not focus on flashy commercials or massive retail chains. Instead, the company sells through independent dealers alongside the commercial-grade Pro-Turn lineup. That placement is intentional. Gravely operates under the Ariens Company, a manufacturer based in Brillion, Wisconsin. The same company builds equipment used daily by professional landscaping crews. So when a technician services a ZTHD in the same shop where commercial landscapers bring in their Pro-Turn units, he understands immediately what kind of machine he's looking at. The major difference starts with construction quality. This mower uses a 7-gauge fabricated steel deck called the X Factor 3. That may sound like marketing language, but it represents a completely different approach compared to the stamped steel decks found on cheaper residential mowers. Stamped decks are pressed from thinner sheets of steel. Fabricated decks are welded together using thick plate steel. Over 10 years of mowing, that difference becomes extremely noticeable. The machine also comes equipped with Kawasaki FR series engines and Hydrogear's ZT3100 transaxles. Those are the kinds of components normally associated with commercial equipment, not entry-level retail machines. Depending on the deck size, pricing usually falls somewhere between $5,000 and $7,300. That means you're not going to see this mower advertised for $1,800 during a spring sale event. There is also an important distinction buyers need to understand. This recommendation specifically applies to the ZTHD model. Some of Gravely's lower residential units, especially the ZT42, have developed recurring complaints in recent years. Owners have reported issues involving belts, electrical systems, and warranty frustrations. The ZTHD sits in a completely different category. If you are considering Gravely, understanding that difference matters. For homeowners mowing 1 to 3 acres who simply want to purchase one reliable machine and stop worrying about mower problems, this is often considered the gateway into a much higher tier of equipment. And this is only the beginning. The second mower raises the standard even higher. If you have ever watched a professional lawn crew maintain large commercial properties, there is a good chance you have seen a Skag sitting on one of those trailers. Within the landscaping industry, Skag has developed a reputation similar to Milwaukee in the tool world. It is one of those brands professionals choose when reliability matters more than anything else. The Patriot model represents Skag's entry into the residential market. It is not a full commercial machine, but it follows the exact same philosophy used in Skag's professional lineup. That philosophy focuses on durability, longevity, and heavy-duty components. Commercial Skag units are known for reaching well beyond 1,500 hours of operation without experiencing major failures. The Patriot borrows heavily from that design mentality. Its Hero Cutter deck is fully fabricated and welded. The machine also uses maintenance-free aluminum spindles. That detail may not sound important to the average homeowner, but mechanics pay close attention to it. Spindles are one of the first components that wear out on cheaper residential mowers. Replacing spindle assemblies means labor costs, replacement parts, downtime, and another trip back to the repair shop. With the Patriot, those conversations happen far less often. The mower is also available with the Kawasaki FX series engine. That is the same commercial-grade engine family used on Skag's professional equipment. A 52-inch Patriot equipped with a Kawasaki FX engine typically costs between $8,800 and $9,400. For some homeowners, that number alone will sound excessive. And honestly, if you're mowing a small, flat, half-acre suburban lawn, it probably is more machine than you need. But if you care about long-term durability, consistent cut quality, and how your mower performs, after hundreds of hours of use, the Skag Patriot starts making a lot more sense. You're not simply paying for a recognizable brand name. You're paying for aluminum spindles that likely never need replacement. You're paying for a fabricated deck that does not flex under thick, wet grass. And you're paying for a Kawasaki engine built to survive commercial-level workloads. If your previous mower developed belt problems or transmission failures within the first few years, then the Patriot does not represent too much mower. Instead, it represents what a mower is supposed to feel like when corners are not cut during manufacturing. But the third machine is the one mechanics continue bringing up repeatedly. And the reason why says something important about how most homeowners think about riding mowers. Because in many cases, that thinking is completely wrong. Most average homeowners have never even heard of Ferris. The company does not flood television with advertisements. It does not dominate retail store displays. And it does not market itself aggressively to casual buyers. To the average person walking through a mower aisle, Ferris is practically invisible. But ask experienced mechanics what they would personally trust in their own yard, and Ferris comes up constantly. Not because of the engine, not because of the cutting deck, but because of one feature most homeowners never think to evaluate. The Ferris IS series uses a patented independent suspension system. It includes coil-over shocks and front suspension designed to absorb impacts before they reach the rest of the machine. This is very different from a simple suspension seat. Many companies offer upgraded seats to make the ride more comfortable for the operator. But a suspension seat only protects the person driving. It does nothing to protect the deck. It does nothing to reduce stress on spindle bearings. It does nothing for hydraulic seals, frame welds, or transaxles. Ferris designed its suspension system to protect the entire mower. That distinction matters enormously over time. Here is how mechanics explain it. Constant vibration and repeated impact are what slowly destroy zero-turn mowers from the inside out. Spindle bearings fail because of repeated shock loads. Deck plates eventually crack along welded sections after years of constant stress. Hydraulic lines wear down from vibration. Frame welds fatigue. On traditional zero-turn machines, every bump, root, dip, and rough patch transfers energy directly into the mower structure. On a Ferris, much of that force gets absorbed by the suspension system before it can damage the drivetrain. That is one reason these machines continue running year after year. That is why mechanics trust them. That is why many professionals buy them for their own properties. The IS600Z includes a 10-gauge fabricated steel deck, Hydrogear ZT3200 transaxles, and Kawasaki engine options. Those transaxles are actually a step above the ZT3100 units found in the Gravely. The mower can also reach ground speeds approaching 10 miles per hour. The IS700Z adds Ferris's ICD cutting system and is often considered the better long-term value. Pricing generally falls between $5,700 and $8,000 depending on configuration. The machine weighs more than 1,000 pounds. Mechanics do not view that as a negative. To them, weight represents material strength. Lighter machines are often lighter because manufacturers use less steel and fewer heavy-duty components. Ferris took the opposite approach. They built the machine heavier because durability was prioritized over marketing convenience. For homeowners maintaining 2 to 5 acres, especially properties with rough terrain or uneven ground, the Ferris IS series is not overkill. In many cases, it is the correct answer. Even on flatter lawns, you still end up owning a commercial-grade mower capable of outlasting nearly everything else in the same category. Meanwhile, the aisles inside big box stores remain full of residential mowers covered in stickers claiming commercial-grade quality. Find a professional mechanic who actually believes those labels. The names mechanics continue mentioning are Gravely, Skag, Ferris, fabricated steel decks, commercial-grade engines, dealer-only sales, no giant pallets sitting under fluorescent store lighting, no massive seasonal discount events. Instead, you visit an independent dealer. You sit on the machine, you talk directly to the technicians. Then you ask one important question. How often do you see this model come back into the repair shop? That conversation tells you more than any showroom display ever will. Your neighbor may have purchased a $3,000 John Deere from a retail store. Every summer it needs another belt replacement. Meanwhile, the mechanic down the road is still mowing with the same Ferris after 10 years. That is the real difference.